welcome to this edition of Connections. I'm Christy with the Community Foundation, and as you know, I love to help you know more about the nonprofit sector and things that are happening in Greater Des Moines. I'm here today with Tim Shanahan, who's the Executive Director of Families Forward. Tim, thanks for joining me and telling the story of Families Forward. Tell us more about Families Forward and what you do and who you serve.
Sure. Well, Families Forward, we're relatively new, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We had a merger of two organizations, and we offer 4 programs. 2 of our programs have to do with housing and shelter. So we provide a very affordable housing and supportive services for families with children that have been experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness. We had 29 housing units, 20 single-family homes, 3 duplexes and a triplex. And our other 2 programs are the Child Development Center. We serve 2 to 5-year-olds. Predominantly, most of the families are getting assistance from Department of Human Services for the child care.
They're having fun. That's okay.
And we have a lot of kids that stay here. So a really big need in our community to be able to serve those families that are getting funding through DHS. Because a lot of child care centers don't accept DHS payments because it's not quite enough to be able to fully pay. Yep. And also there's a lot of work involved with that. Then our last program is Bidwell Pantry. We're part of the DMARC partnership. We are the most heavily used pantry in the state of Iowa. Last year, we served just under 20,000 unduplicated individuals. Every month, we're typically serving 5,000 to 6,000 unduplicated individuals. But not only do we provide food, but we typically have free clothing for families and individuals to be able to get, personal care items when available. So we try to do a little bit more than just providing a much needed food for the families.
Well, thank goodness for your organization, which, as you mentioned, is really a merger of 2 organizations that have come together.
That's
Families
correct.
Forward is a newly branded and newly formed organization that has really brought those together, and you've really led that effort through the merger. Can you talk a little more about what that process was like and I guess the efficiencies and things that you found? How has it been important for those organizations?
Yeah, well, we got involved, I say we, the old Hawthorne Hill, the merger was from Hawthorne Hill and Bidwell Riverside Center. But Bidwell was kind of running in some financial difficulties, as you know. Approximately about 9 years ago, we got asked to take a look at it, and so we did, and really looked at the 2 services they're providing with the pantry and the Child Development Center, that, those were 2 services that this community sorely needed and sure didn't need to lose because we were probably on the road to closing. We got involved, had a management contract, which I believe was paid by the Community Foundation to provide management for the organization, and probably within about a year we were able to get fully into the black. So which then led to us creating a 3rd nonprofit called BRCHH, just the initials of the organization, which was a management services organization, which allowed us to be able to have the board of BRCHH was able to oversee both organizations. So the board members from Bidwell and Hawthorne Hill comprise BRCHH. And then it allowed us to be able to only have 1 executive director. It also helped to be able to fund our development director. So we had some savings and costs that way, which then eventually led to us having a full merger.
Well, I love that you shared that because, we provide strategic alignment and capacity building funding at the Community Foundation. We've been able to assist in both, but I love that you shared it too because it's an interesting business model that these nonprofits have adopted. There are a couple others that have happened in our community, and in both cases, I just saw extreme efficiency, I saw sustainability, I saw smart management, and I saw boards of directors who are really innovative and open in their thinking in terms of the sustainability of the organizations. I mean, for their future, it was a necessary move, right?
Yeah,
and you would see that, I think, as well. So Tim, I have worked with you for a long, long time, but you were at United Way before here, and you've been here since 2004.
I've been here 20 years.
20 years, and you're going to step away from this role soon, and someone will step into those big shoes to fill. What are some words of advice that you would have for those in the nonprofit sector, either as a leader or as a board member?
You know, I got involved with Hawthorne Hill, which was called Hawthorne Hill Ministries when I was at United Way,
Yeah.
and they were on the verge of closing. It's not to say that Hawthorne Hill Ministries and Bidwell Riverside Center didn't have the right board members, but you need to have particular skills on your boards. And one of those is you really need to have one or preferably a couple people that are really good at finance and accounting. You have a CPA or a finance director someplace. So they're able to really understand the financial statements and be able to see ahead of time when things maybe aren't going real well. Because a nonprofit's no different than any other organization. I mean, we depend on revenue coming in. We want our expenditures to be underneath what our revenue is. And you want to be professionally run and managed so that you're able to provide the services that the community needs. And the last thing you want to do is have a nonprofit that's important for the community that maybe doesn't have the management in place and the overseeing in place to have it so that it continue to be successful and successful in terms of providing extremely needed services in our community.
Well, I hope you feel great about the foundation that you have laid for Families Forward. I know that they've got big shoes to fill, but I'm confident there are folks in our community who can step up. I really appreciate all you've done and what Families Forward does for these families. It most certainly shows that we're better together with you.